Hello, I'm Pat Miller, a member of the Middletown Green Team. Steve and I were asked to talk about steps green teams can take to get their towns on the path to 50% greenhouse gas reduction by 2030 and net zero by 2050. These slides were part of a series of talks we gave during Earth Week on the same topic, how to get to clean energy. The logo shows the more than 20 organizations that sponsored the Earth Week program. I'll talk about why it's so important to prioritize energy actions above all others to draw down our emissions before it's too late. We have really reached a tipping point. We must see significant results within the next 8.5 years by 2030. And we have the support of both state and federal governments now to do it, and of at least 70% of people in the US. Steve will then talk about the specific actions needed. They're aimed not only at saving the world, but at getting to the Sustainable Jersey Gold Star. Our work is advised by both Climate Reality and the Sierra Club Ready for 100 campaign. Both are nonprofit organizations. We founded the local Middletown for Clean Energy when we decided that we could make the biggest direct impact by working to drive our town and other towns around us toward 100% clean energy at the local level, with this mission of leaving a legacy of a livable world for our children and grandchildren. And here's the reason that saving the world is so important to us personally, our two grandsons. There are many sources of man-made global warming pollution: agriculture, forest fires, transportation, but the biggest source is the burning of fossil fuels. The cost of carbon. The number one threat to the global economy. We have mandates to do something about this from the state level all the way up to the international level at the bottom of the slide. The state Energy Master Plan is on its way to being completely codified into law that every town will be required to follow very soon. And now the US has committed to even more stringent targets. Even the well-respected Rutgers Climate Alliance warns that the consequences of not meeting the Paris targets could be catastrophic for our world. I believe all these forces together will get us to our target, perhaps even sooner than expected. First of all, remember, we must have net zero carbon emissions by 2050 to preserve a livable world for our children and grandchildren. So we must reach that target, and we will, starting now. And why do I believe this will happen? Because the tide is turning. More and more people believe it must happen and are demanding it. This is only one of thousands of marches and rallies that were happening more than weekly until the pandemic cut short our ability to gather in large crowds. This was the big climate march in New York City in September 2019, in which Greta Thunberg spoke. We were there for that. Young people all over the world need us to make it happen. Their future is on the line, and green teams need to step up. This is our whole reason for being. And if this is not reason enough, the market will drive this transition. We couldn't stop it even if we were intent on saving fossil fuels, which we're not. A big reason is the cost. This is what has happened in just the last 10 years. Solar has been dropping for 40 years, and in just the last 10 has dropped by more than half. Wind power and EVs have dropped more than 75%. The price has dropped to the point that almost everywhere, clean energy is cheaper than any fossil fuel. Why wouldn't people buy it given a choice? And have no fear, investment in clean energy is not a job killer, quite the opposite. Every dollar we invest in clean energy not only pays the people who will do the work, whether it is researchers, installation technicians, or manufacturing, all of it meant to be done in the US. It creates the value of an endless source of free energy and the devices to capture and use it. Even now, solar and wind technicians are the two fastest growing job categories in the US and are projected to remain so. So how do we get to clean energy? We can use the typical New Jersey emissions chart, which is applicable to the state as a whole, or to towns, or to individuals, as a roadmap for our individual as well as collective path to zero emissions. This chart shows that transportation is the largest cause of emissions in New Jersey at 46%. Building space heating, residential and commercial, is second for a total across the two, residential and commercial, of 22%. And electricity generation is third at 21%. One other point I'd like to make. Do you see the orange slice on the right? This is actually negative emissions. In New Jersey, we have enough tree and plant cover to sequester 8% of our emissions. This is awesome. Do not cut the trees, and every town should have a tree ordinance. The New Jersey Energy Master Plan lays out 7 strategies for getting to clean energy. Transportation is first because it's the worst. Clean energy generation is second for the state, which has the most leverage to make it happen on a large scale, but it also requires individual buy-in. Efficiency and buildings really go together, but conversion to electric is the key. The 5th strategy is environmental justice, which must be considered in every action. 6th, the entire electrical grid needs to be upgraded for reliability, heavier use, and electricity flowing both directions. Finally, we need research into new energy solutions as well as a just workforce transition. We at Middletown for Clean Energy have developed an energy plan for Middletown, but which could be adapted to any town, to the whole state, or to an individual. The goal is 100% clean energy by 2050. It prioritizes steps to be taken toward cutting emissions in the order that produces the greatest savings in the first 10 years. And if continued to 2050, would result in, as close as possible, 100% clean energy. The top 3 actions for the 10-year initial period are: 1, switch the entire town to renewable electricity; 2, replace 1/4 of current passenger cars with EVs; and 3, begin to electrify space heating for commercial and residential. The only reason transportation is not first in this scenario is that we believe we cannot get to 100% EV transportation in that 10-year time frame, whereas we could conceivably get to 100% clean electricity by 2030. Steve is going to tell us about the steps to take to get there. Steve, over to you.
Thank you, Pat. My name is Steve Miller, and I'm a volunteer with the Middletown Green Team, and I'm climate chair for the Sierra Club Jersey Shore Group. My talk will instruct green teams how to follow Sustainable Jersey Gold Star in Energy actions. I will often abbreviate Sustainable Jersey as simply SJ. Step number 1 is to switch to clean electricity. Community choice renewable aggregation is one of your SJ actions. Ask your town administration to supply renewable electrical aggregation for all residences. Easiest path for you is to join one that already exists. The Sustainable Monmouth Alliance, currently 8 towns in Monmouth County, is being developed by the administrator of Red Bank. In addition, New Jersey needs all the new solar that can be constructed. So encourage your residents to install their own rooftop or even backyard solar, or subscribe to community solar, which will be available next year and you'll save 10 to 20%. Or switch to a third-party 100% clean supplier and you save about 10%. We've done this for about 4 years and I use my own site to select companies. Remember my website. New Jersey is already one of the top states for rooftop solar. To accelerate New Jersey, the Green Team can make it easy and popular by following actions to change your town codes and policies. California now requires every new home to have solar and energy efficiency features. Your Green Team can push your town for special new building ordinances and ask state legislators to adopt solar-ready new construction policies. Green Team members can also adopt their own green principles and then brag to the whole town. This is a Google Earth aerial view of my house. We are sequestering carbon with all those trees. Green Team action is required to help preserve such trees in each town, and in fact around my neighborhood as well, as homeowners move in and decide that trees are threatening their house. 4 years ago, we switched our house to a 100% clean electrical supplier. We currently save 10% on wind energy from Texas, but it is better to buy local renewable electric to stimulate local solar investments and create local jobs. We continue to lobby our town to adopt clean energy for the entire town, to multiply our individual impact by a whopping 25,000 households. We get our neighbors organized to lobby town officials via a campaign such as Sierra Club's Ready for 100. Every year except in 2020, we have a Middletown for Clean Energy booth at the September Middletown Day, from which we lobby our neighbors and town officials. We lobby for community choice aggregation because this single Green Team action gets us 40% of the way to our 2030 goal to have greenhouse gas, and residents save money, all at no cost to the town. Local community solar will be available next year. This is already a Green Team action. Middletown recently applied for the community solar trial to build a canopy over the train station parking, just like this photo. By 2035, New Jersey will have 7,500 megawatt offshore wind 15 miles out the coast. I calculate this might be 1/3 of New Jersey total power. Our transportation causes over 40% of your and my greenhouse gas. Switching to EVs is the most important action to begin now to more quickly achieve 100% EVs on the road. There are 2 associated Green Team actions to stimulate EVs in your town. We now drive a Toyota Prius Prime plug-in hybrid shown here in our garage, being charged with our 100% clean electricity. It goes 30 miles on a charge before switching automatically to the hybrid engine. We averaged 150 miles per gallon since buying this Prius 3 years ago. This chart shows how fast EVs have grown over the past decade. This will accelerate even faster when EVs become cheaper than gasoline cars in the next couple of years. Half the world's buses will be electric in 4 years. This is what they look like. Green Teams should lobby schools to transition to electric school buses. The diesel fumes are unhealthy for both students and us. The large batteries in school buses might be able to receive income by providing grid storage for intermittent wind and solar renewables. We already have electric trucks. And New Jersey is planning to transform medium to heavy-duty diesel trucks to electric. The third highest priority is electrifying space heating and cooling. Green Team actions will motivate your residents to improve residents' energy efficiency, such as added insulation, air leak sealing, switching to LED lighting, and smart thermostats. We used Middletown Green Team's $49 energy audit and followed recommended upgrades. You can see a zippered refrigerator bag looking thing over the attic stairs on the left, and lots of additional insulation in the attic on the right. The next step is to start now to switch household appliances to electric as those fossil fuel appliances wear out. The gas furnace has a large carbon footprint. When the furnace or the AC needs to be replaced, then replace both with a single cold climate electric heat pump. Also replace the old fossil-fueled water heater, stove, and dryer. The price of operating those old appliances will be going up as their government subsidies are phased out. This is a short ad from JCP&L we received last week on why to switch to a heat pump. The New Jersey natural gas monopoly on space heating is about to come to an end.
Using two separate units to heat and cool your home is so played out. It may not be a flying car, but air source heat pump technology is paving the way to conveniently delivering a more comfortable home. And to that I say, woo woo! First off, air source heat pumps are incredibly efficient. I mean, incredibly efficient. They are more than 200% efficient at heating and cooling your home. That's really efficient. And that combined with no on-site emissions means air source heat pumps are environmentally friendly. Air source heat pumps are also more convenient. It only takes one unit to heat and cool your home. And because they require fewer moving parts, there is less maintenance involved. Also, there's no natural gas, so no carbon monoxide monitor is needed. With higher efficiency, you'll save on bills. With less maintenance, you'll save on visits from a tech. And with longer service life and only one unit to have to install, you'll save on installation costs too. Air source heat pumps are a cool technology that is heating up thanks to their many great advantages in a single convenient package. And for keeping our homes comfortable no matter the season, I emphatically cheer, hip hip hooray, hip hip hooray, hip hip hooray.
This pie chart summarizes the priority actions we just talked about. They map to SJ Gold Star in energy shown in gold letters, with the exception of the SJ void in electric space heating just discussed. Encourage your green team to motivate your town to 100% clean energy by going for gold. This data from Sustainable Jersey will soon be available for all years up to 2020. It shows the total greenhouse gas emissions from your town. You can use it to establish your town's baseline emissions and then track your dropping greenhouse gas emissions as you implement your Green Team Gold Star in Energy actions. In October 2020, a status report on the New Jersey Global Warming Response Act was given to the New Jersey legislature. It lays out the exact same actions that Pat and I have been describing today. Green Team members should green their own life and talk about it. Make SJ Energy Action's highest priority. They are indeed the key to saving the world. Lobby town officials to adopt energy actions as law. Hold ongoing education sessions for residents. During Earth Week, we held exceptional Earth Week presentations in daily events, which we broadcast widely across New Jersey. I have only time to highlight two of the presentations. Every one of these is very memorable, though. John and Diane Burke, Wright Center, tag team descriptions of their passive house to be finished in early 2022 in Middletown. This is after 10 years of yearning and planning. This is a zero carbon emission project. Watch for the Burke announcements of public tours every week during construction. The tours will focus on teaching zero carbon techniques to local architects and builders. And my second feature is delightful Phyllis Garr, top left. of the Marlboro Green Team. She narrated a pictorial story of her 20-year history of going green with heat pumps, solar panels, and EV. But she joyously cites to the penny the money she has made from her rooftop solar. Following is a Q&A tip to help your green team motivate your town residents. Carrie-Ann Lombardi guides a homeowner who describes results of improved insulation, sealing air breaks, air leaks, and heat pump installation. Carrie-Ann is the person to contact for one or more of her excellent speakers.
So what kind of changes have you seen in your home's comfort since the assessment?
Well, as I said, so it's much less drafty, so it takes care of all those problems, and the ventilation in the bathroom is just much better, less moisture in the bathroom, and my total energy bill was reduced by 50%.
50%, that's amazing.
Yeah.
This is my final slide, and then we are open to questions. We emphasize that you green your own life and advertise across your town. Launch SJ Energy Actions. Invite residents and businesses to join your webinars and tell their story by bragging and providing testimonials about their own green your life. Give non-participants the gnawing feeling they are missing out on a growing movement. We usually pair testimonials with New Jersey Clean Energy Program speakers arranged by Carrie-Ann Lombardi. Those speakers describe the plentiful state rebates and incentives. Most speakers write scripts, and then we rehearse and then present live via Zoom, and then advertise recordings for additional exposure. We organized another presentation just recently. This was a 1-hour talk by 2 New Jersey Clean Energy speakers on incentives to lower household greenhouse gas. I arranged for Sierra Club to invite attendance by members and supporters on the whole entire New Jersey coast from Sandy Hook to Cape May. So I have several more volunteers already lined up to brag about their individual Green Your Life accomplishments in the near future. I would like to put on periodic events this summer, and I look for partnerships with you. Let me know if you want to be part of planning a presentation. Also, Pat and I are available to speak to your green team at any time. So now it's Q&A time.
And you'll turn off the recording.
And we're turning off the recording.